Okay, now let's talk about following yes, no questions with verb to be. Okay, as I said at the beginning of, well, the first video, I said that in the case of sentences, affirmative or negative sentences, we have the subject pronouns or the subjects at the beginning of these sentences. For example, Jennifer is, Maria is, Kevin is, for example. But in the case of yes or no questions, there is, a subtle change in this case. I mean, in yes or no questions, we have verb to be first, then we have the subject, and after that or at the end, we have the complement. Okay? Now remember that in sentences, subject first, verb to be second, complement at the end. Okay? But in the case of yes or no questions, we have verb to be first, then we have the subject, and at the end we have the complement. Now let's look at some examples in order to have this clear. For example, is Carlos my brother? In this case, the verb to be is, right? Subject or the pronoun is Carlos, and the complement is, in this case, my brother. Now, what about this? Is it a butterfly? Is, the verb to be. It, in this case, is the subject, the pronoun, and the complement would be a butterfly. Okay? And at the end, we have, are we classmates? Are we classmates? The verb to be is are, the subject or the pronoun is we, and the complement in this case would be classmates. Okay. Okay, well, I hope this is clear for you. Okay. Now, what about double H questions? Now, before we go to those questions, it is important to say that yes or no questions are called like this because, for example, if someone asks this question, is Carlos my brother? Oh, yes, he is. Or no, he is not. As you can see, guys, the answers are, let's say, short. I mean, the answers or the answer must be yes or no. We don't need more information. Okay. So that's why these questions are called yes or no, because the kind of answers that we're providing here are, okay, yes, he is, yes, I am, yes, they are, for example, or no, he isn't, no, they aren't, no, we aren't. I mean, short questions. Okay? I mean, it is optional, or it is up to you if you want to give more information. But just that you know, it is not necessary. Okay? Okay, now about double H questions, in here, as you will see, there is just, like a subtle change. First of all, this is the formula for double H questions. Double H, verb to be, subject, and the complement. Okay, now in the case of the complement, guys, in this kind of questions, sometimes there is no complement, and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that the question is not correct. It is just that the question is like that. So don't worry if there is a question which doesn't have a complement in this case. Now, you might be wondering what is double H. Okay, you might be wondering about this. Now, the thing with double H stands for different interrogative pronouns. For example, what, where, who, when, how, etc., etc. Okay. Now, let's look at some examples. For example, where is she? The double H is where. the verb to be is, right? The subject is she. And this is what I was saying before. There is no complement in here, and that's correct. I mean, if you want, you could add a complement, but the question is understood like this. Where is she? We don't need more information, or at least it is not essential. What about this one? How are you? Okay. Double H, how, verb to be are, the subject is you. There is no complement either. Okay. Why? Because I can understand this question like this. How are you? Okay, I understand what this person is asking. Okay. As I said before, you could add a complement, but I mean, that's not mandatory. Okay, it is up to you if you want to do it. So remember, in the case of double H questions, we have double H at the beginning. Then we have verb to be, subject or the pronoun, and at the end we have the complement. Now, guys, something important. In all, or at least in most questions with verb to be, in the case of yes or no questions and double H questions, as you can see, guys, verb to be is always before the pronoun or the subject. Okay? You will not find a question with the subject at the beginning or with the subject before the verb to be. I mean, that would not be correct. For example, I cannot say where she is. Okay, is that a question or is that a sentence? It's kind of confusing. Or if I said, how you are? Sorry, I don't understand. Okay, so the point, guys, is that you make questions with this formula. Okay. And in the case of the subject or the pronouns, as I said before, you can use names of people. Where is Paula? Where is Brittany? Or how are they? How are my parents? How are my friends? Okay, that could work. Okay. Now, in here, guys, we can find some contractions with verb to be. That's possible. In the case of the affirmative part, I can say I am. It stands for I am. You are, your. He is, his. She is, she's. It is, its. We are, we're. You are, your. They are, their. Okay, with this apostrophe here. Okay, in the case of negative, the negative part, in the case of I am or I am not, I'd say I'm not, like this. Okay, that's the most common contraction. Now, in the case of you, we, and they, the contraction is aren't. So I can say you are not or you aren't. Okay? We are not, we aren't, like this. They are not or they aren't. Okay? Now, what happens with he, she, and it? He is not, he isn't. She is not, she isn't. It is not, it isn't. So guys, it is optional. If you want, you can say it like in the full form as we saw it in the previous video. Or with the contraction. For example, she is not my aunt. Or she isn't my aunt. Okay. He is not David. Or he isn't David. Okay, that's up to you. Okay. Now, what about questions? Well, basically, as we said before. Now, the thing that I would like to highlight in here is about these yes or no questions. Okay. as you can see, guys, in here, we have possible answers to these questions. For example, I don't know, are you Dayana? Yes, I am Dayana. Or no, I'm not Dayana. Now, this, guys, is what I was saying before. Short answers, yes or no. Okay? It is my decision if I want to add more information, but that's not mandatory. Okay? For example, is he Alonso? Yes, he is. Or no, he isn't Alonso. Or no, he isn't. Okay? Just that. Okay? The question is he Alonso? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. It is not mandatory to add more information. Okay, so it is up to you. It is your decision. And that same rule applies to all these questions. Okay. Okay, let's look at some examples. Okay. For example, I am Santiago. She is not my sister. You are my students. He is Adrian. Is he Yasir? A man. Or it is a cat. Now, guys, in order to finish with this topic, and as I said it before, guys, do not change the conjugations of the verb to be for the pronouns. What am I trying to say? For example, you cannot say I is Santiago, or she am not my sister, or you is my students. That's not correct. That's not possible. Now, guys, what is my recommendation for you to master or for you to improve your knowledge about the verb to be? Study the conjugations. Okay, for example, I am, he is, she is, it is, you are, we are, they are. They are always together. I cannot change them. Okay, because that would not be correct. Okay, guys, I hope you liked my video. In case you have any doubt, any question, something that was not clear, please leave your comment below. Bye-bye.